Good morning, Facebook. Thank you so much for joining. This is the Civilized Presence. Just give us 2 minutes for this video to come up, and I will be happy to share this with you. I am so excited. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Um, okay, I'm just looking for the video. There you are. I want to put this on your page, Toni. Let's see. Okie dokie. Perfect. So I have it on your page now.
Okay.
That's great. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome. And let us know where you're joining us from. Good morning. Okay. Give us another 1 minute. We're almost there. All right. We are going to have a great time this morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining. Guys, welcome to the Civilized Presence. And coming in, let us know where you're joining from. Come in and comment with your city, your state. Where are you coming in from? I'm excited. I want to meet you this morning, this Wednesday morning. We are here every Mondays and Fridays usually, but we have special sessions on Wednesdays and Saturdays if we have to. But welcome. Let me know where you're joining us from. Did someone just invite you? How did you get here? Are you watching this on replay on YouTube? Let us know where you're joining from. Just give me 1 minute. We're just trying to. I've been having a lot of people and just bumping on me and said, Louisa, where is the video? We're ready to go, guys. We're ready to rock and roll. Good morning. Thank you. I think it's time to go now. Thank you so much. Okay, so the Civilized Presence is an online TV session where lives are changed, where people discover their self-purpose, voice, and learn social skills to thrive in the real world. And welcome, Franklin. It's great to have you. Welcome, Esther. It's great to have you. Sandra, it's good to have you. Janet, it's good to have you. Guys, coming in and just let me know where you're joining us from. Praise. Thank you so much for joining. Give us some hot thumbs up and let us know where you're joining from. Can you put this on your page? Invite more people to be part of what we're doing. I am so excited. It's a Wednesday morning. I'm so excited to have you here. I haven't been here in a couple of days now. And so I really want to meet everyone in the house. Welcome, Lizzie. It's great to have you in the house. Thank you so much for being here this morning. It's such an honor to have you here. Seema, it's good to have you in the house. Thank you, Louisa from Canada. Margaret, it's good to have you. Thank you for making out time to be here. Now, a lot of new people are coming on. It's session number 119, and welcome, Andy. It's great to have you. Yes, we started this last year in the month of April, and we've been paddling along. Really, it has been fun. If you're just getting here for the first time, you're in the right place at the right time. My name is Louisa Akaiso, and I am your Master Civility Trainer and Leadership Coach with the John Maxwell team. And I work confidently with leaders and professionals that place great importance in themselves and their reputation. And of course, that's going to be you this morning because you made out time to be here this morning. I feel so honored that you responded to the call, to the flyer, to the post. I don't know how you got here. Did someone invite you? Welcome. We're going to have fun. Like I said, usually we're here every Mondays and Fridays. But of course, sometimes on Wednesdays, we're here for a special session, such as this one. It's a really great session. And the main focus of this Facebook series is really to help restore civility in our society. And we've been doing this through meaningful conversations and just breaking it down. I've been working with other colleagues and experts and professionals all over the world, really working on how we can break down the concept of civility into tiny bits for you to understand how important but easy for you to be civil. And you can begin with little things like saying please and thank you or good morning, or even share a compliment, just like I'm going to do this morning. That welcome, Toni. It's so good to have you. You look beautiful this morning.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you and welcome, Rosie. It's good to have you in the house. Guys, let me know where you're joining us from. I am pumped up this morning. It's such a hot Wednesday morning, but I had a long commute, guys. Let me tell you, life is just so short and precious. So you have to enjoy every bit of it. I was really driving so fast this morning. And just before I got to my turning, guess what happened? I saw about 20 geese who were trying to cross the road. And I'm thinking, are you serious? Not this morning. Tony's waiting. But I had to wait and just kind of smile back to myself and just like, you know what, Louisa, just breathe. I mean, the geese have got to have fun this morning. There's nothing you can do. And Sister Dulcie, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. So, guys, I'm not going to take too much of your time because there's so much for us to share today. And Brenton, it's great to have you here from Australia. Thank you. That's an image consultant from Australia. I'm so excited to have you in the house. So I have chosen a definition this morning of civility, the one from Dr. Pierre Funny. Welcome, D. It's great to have you. And this states that being civil means being constantly aware of others and weaving restraint, respect, and consideration into that very fabric of awareness. So simply, civility is gracious goodness. You can think about civility as the golden rule, treating others the way that you want to be treated. Civility is being responsible for your actions. Welcome, my friend Sikoni. It's so good to have you. I have missed everyone. Welcome, Kate from Nigeria. Whoo, guys, listen, I want to do the happy dance, but maybe I cannot because I have to sit still and just kind of look at the camera. But guys, I want you to know that I really do appreciate all of you. And without you, the show will not go on. So I have to say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you again and again. I really appreciate you for believing in me, for your support, for standing with me, for showing up anytime that I come on. Thank you so much. Okay, so back to the deal of the day. Civility is focused on positive people's treatment. Apologize honestly if you have to, and pay attention to other people. Refrain from idle complaints. So I'm going to give you an example because a lot of people are still very confused about what civility is. I know we're very familiar with etiquette, but etiquette is a set of rules for a particular place, particular context. So for example, we can have the etiquette for a school system or a school, or etiquette for a dining etiquette, what you should do when you're dining, a wedding etiquette, okay? But when we look at civility, civility shows you the how and the why. So for example, you can teach your kids to say, good morning, oh, I'm sorry. But you know what? Sometimes sorry can become a weapon. Because if you haven't taught that child why they should be saying sorry, they would just walk around the world feeling that they can do anything that they want to do and get away with it by just saying sorry. So the reason why we had to put this all together and get started with creating this awareness is so that you understand the importance of embracing civility as a lifestyle. Why do you do what you do? The impact of your actions, thinking about the person next to you, always constantly looking forward to easing the experience of other people around you. Every day I'm very intentional. I try to be very intentional because I love to share real life examples with you. This morning, I had to go, and we have Iho in the house. Look at that from Ukraine. Come on now. Ambassador Juma from Kenya. It's good to have you in the house. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here. So I went to Starbucks, guys. I only had like 3 hours of sleep, so I have my Starbucks here. Anyway, so I went to Starbucks and I wanted to grab something to drink. Guess what happened? I drove when it was my turn. It wasn't ready. And so the lady looked into my face and she said, I'm so sorry that, we're such in a hurry to pick up your money and we don't have your drink and food ready. And I just started smiling at her and I said, you look beautiful. And she said, oh my goodness, I should have you here every morning because some people would have started freaking out and cursing. I said, no, dear. Listen, you haven't heard of the Civilized Presence. You need to join my session every Mondays and Fridays. Why should I freak out? Come on, we have a long queue. We all have to pass on kindness every time that you have the opportunity. Listen, you do not want to get on the queue on Starbucks and be cursing everyone, because you know what's going to happen? It's going to ruin your whole entire day. And the other way is, how will she feel when you drive up? Do you think she wants to see you again? No, she wouldn't. So welcome, Sister Eileen. It's good to have you. Welcome, Gladys Osagir. It's good to have you in the house. Thank you so much for joining us. Guys, let me know what part of the world you're jumping in from. I can see Nigeria, I can see Kenya, I can see Ghana, I can see London, UK, I can see Ukraine, I can see Canada, I can see, is it Gambia? Guys, just let me know where you're joining us from. We want to know. Our guest wants to meet you. Okay, so I want to say Happy New Month. I'm sorry that you haven't seen me. There's been so much happening. We've been busy. Of course, it's a summer period, a lot of working with the young people outside, the camps, working with the young people through the community centers. So I have been extremely busy. And Gladys says she's from Ireland this morning. You are welcome. Thank you. I don't know how you got here, but I really appreciate you for making our time to be here. So guys, do me a favor. Give us some thumbs up. Give us some hearts. Share this video. Invite your friends, family, and your neighbors, of course, your enemies. This is a great message. They need to hear it, okay? So it's so good to have everyone. Thank you. If I haven't mentioned your name, that's just because you're probably not directly on my page, but I want you to know that I really appreciate your making out time to be here. Now, this is the month of August. And of course, we're so excited that August is here. But most importantly, the children are home. Some parents are happy that the kids are home because they kind of watch the progress. They get to chat with the kids, the accomplishments. Did your kids do well in school? What's going on? They're growing older. They're going to a new class. And some parents are not that happy because it's more work for you, right? You get more busy. But that's not what we're going to be talking about this morning. What we are going to be talking about is how can you help these kids of yours who are becoming adults to advance successfully in this world? And some of the things that are going to help them, like research has shown, is social skills. Okay, if you look at the numbers, it's very, it's heartwarming for me because, of course, this is what we talk about every Mondays and Fridays, that social skills is going to take 85% of your success is based on social skills. So there is no way that you're going to run and hide anymore. So it's important that you take your children to the right program, to the right training. If you're not able to do it, we can do it for you. And we're going to talk about that. Welcome, Solomon. It's good to have you in the house. A lot of people are coming in from different screens. Guys, thank you so much. Just come into the video and just let me know what country that you are representing. I love you very much. And thank you for being here. And so Gladys says, thank you so much for sharing. Happy to connect with you. Yes, I am excited to meet you too. Okay, so this morning we've chosen great topics: character, confidence, and courteous communication. It's very, very important in the life of the child. And of course, I have brought in the expert, one of the best in the world, to share this message with us because this is what she does every day. So I had to bring her all the way from Houston, an hour behind. So she had to wake up early. So Toni, I really appreciate you for doing this for me. Thank you so much for sharing your awesomeness. And she's a returning guest. Now, some of you have never met her before. So let me just tell you who Toni is. And Solomon says he's here from India. Yoo-hoo! India is in the house. Look at that. We are global this morning. Guys, you guys are too much. I'm sending you all the kisses. I hope you can get it. So let's go back to this. And our guest for today is called Toni Dupree. I hope I got that right, Toni. If I did not, after my cup of coffee, I will.
It's Dupree. That's all.
Dupree. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Toni is a civility expert. She is an author. We're going to be talking about some of her books this morning. And she's also the founder and president of Etiquette and Style by Dupree, ESD. And this organization has got a mission to help young people and business professionals get ahead with good manners. So if you're struggling with your manners, Toni is in the house, and you can connect with Toni right on social media. She's on Facebook, she's on Instagram, she's on LinkedIn. You're going to find her in all the right places. So, okay, if you go to the right places, you will find Toni there. And so I would say social skills essential for intelligent success. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that add-on. So, Toni, of course, I know that recently you've been doing a lot of work, Toni. I want to say thank you for what you're doing, because I'd say all the work you're doing through the schools. Toni runs so many camps for the young children, for the older people. And Toni received some recognition and some awards recently. So, Toni, can you just say hello to the audience and just tell us a little bit about that, so that I'm not missing anything this morning? Over to you, Toni.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming and tuning in. So to answer your question, Louisa, I recently received an award from the Better Business Bureau for excellence in business. And prior to that, I did some work with A-Leaf School District, and I received an award for my efforts in the community, in the A-Leaf community. So just a few different awards, recognition for work that I've done.
Wow, I am so proud of you, Toni. I feel so honored to have you here this morning, really making our time.
Can you hear me really well? Can you hear me pretty well?
I can hear you.
This is the first time I've been on Facebook Live, so you have to forgive me. I'm trying to get comfortable with it.
You are doing great. You're doing great, and welcome. Louis is all the way from Kenya. It's good to have you here, my friend. Thank you so much for being part of what we're doing. Serini, thank you for being here. Guys, if I haven't mentioned your name, that's not because I do not care. I just haven't seen you directly on my page. And welcome, Richard. It's great to have you. And so I'm just going to leave the guest for a moment and just focus on my special guest today. So, Toni, of course, you know how this works is really to get started with the questions. We begin the conversation. We might have a question or two from the audience and just carry along. So my first question for you today would be, what does civility mean to you, Toni? As a civility expert, I want to learn from you. Over to you, Toni.
So civility to me is an extension of grace. That's what it is. I think in terms of how, whatever I'm doing for myself, if I'm trying to make comfortable space for me, I extend that grace to the next person. So that's how I look at civility. Civility is an extension of grace. That's from my perspective. That's how I approach it. And it stops it from being so complex, because a lot of times when people hear civility and etiquette, they think it's a lot of stuff they have to do, and it's not. It does have to do with your behavior and how you think of the situations around you and the people in those situations, but it's not complex at all. Because what you want for yourself, you just have to want that for the people around you.
I love that. Thank you so much, Toni. An extension of grace. Can someone put that in the comment box below? Because we want those who are going to be watching this on a replay, just grab it all. So just put it in the comment box below for me. An extension of grace. That's from Toni Dupree. I love that definition, Toni. That's just so easy to grab. And that's what we do here, guys. We're trying to break it so that you can understand. You must be able to walk away from the session with something that you can use right the next minute. So I'm going to challenge you this morning. If you've never ever said hello to your neighbors before, you're going to say, Louisa is going there again. Because some of us do not talk to our neighbors. We don't talk to anyone. We are just so into ourselves. Now, I'm going to encourage you this morning that as you get back home, if you're in the office, try to extend a hand of kindness to somebody. Maybe just sponsor and buy someone a cup of coffee. That would be nice. Ask them if they've had water, or even smile to them. Come on, a smile does not cost anything, guys. I know you can do it. And welcome, Coco. It's good to have you here from Virginia. Thank you so much. Yes, Nairobi, Kenya is in the house. Woohoo! I'm excited. Okay, guys. I'm always so pumped up. So don't mind me, forgive me, but I'm so excited. And then I heard says rational approach. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the contributions. We have all the great people in the house today. So this is going to take me to my next question for you, Toni. I'm talking about confidence, especially in the life of a child. Confidence is a big thing. A lot of children struggle with self-esteem and confidence.
Yeah.
And even the parents sometimes are confused and do not know how to help them about it. Because even the parents sometimes are struggling with confidence too. So it's kind of like the case of the blind leading the blind.
Right.
Okay, so now communication is a great piece of being confident, because I kind of feel that you cannot be confident if you're not able to communicate confidently.
Right.
Both of them go hand in hand. Because you cannot be so great at communicating and then you have your head bending down forward and you cannot even look into someone's face. It's not going to make any sense. Like if I showed up this morning and I'm kind of like this, everyone would be running out of the session.
Right.
So how can a child communicate with confidence? What kind of steps can we use to encourage, to help a child develop confidence while communicating? Over to you, Toni.
So if, let's break it down. So if it's peer to peer and one child wants to engage another child in communication. So you want to start with that child should start with either what they want to know about the other child, what they know about themselves that they are willing to share. So if you have something already set up, so for this meeting, we're not children, but when you talked to me about coming on your show and what your topics were, I already had things in my head related to the topic. And that builds confidence when you know what you know. So you start with what you know, and then you think about, well, what would I like to learn about this person that I'm talking to? If the child is speaking to an adult, it's the same thing. If it's in school, well, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be about your grades. It's going to be about some type of directive. It's going to be some type of rule. Or if you are just speaking, you start with, hello, how you doing? If they respond to you, that's going to create some type of conversation. That builds confidence. If there's a give and take, the child is more confident. And the more he does that, like if it's a shy child and they have a hard time going up to someone, if other people are receptive to you, that builds your confidence. But when you walk in knowing what you know about yourself and having the things set aside that you would like to share about yourself, that builds confidence as well. Because if I don't know anything about myself and someone asks me a question, whether I'm a child or I walk in as an adult like I am, and I can't answer those questions, I'm not going to be confident anyway. So you start with what you know. And children should think about that. You either start with what you know, what you want to do. You're thinking about what you want to do with another person. If I just want to talk to them, well, what are you going to talk about? You always have to think about what is it I'm going to do. And then when they respond to you, what are you going to do with that? So yeah, that's how you look at confidence. If you're just sitting up there waiting for somebody to engage you, well, no, that's not going to make you very confident. And it's not going to make you very approachable, because that's a lot of work that the other person has to do.
That is so true. Wow, thank you so much for contributing. We have a few people who have jumped on. Hello, Jabba. It's good to have you. Are you here from Iraq? Or let me know. It's good to have you. Welcome, Kate. It's always good to have you in the house. Davida, it's good to have you. And I have some contribution from Ihor. Ihor said, walking slowly through crowd. Sometimes I do not see my neighbors. I really need to slow down. That's correct. hmm And I love your transparency. Thank you so much for contributing. Kate says, start with what you know, continue to learn and unlearn the wrong things. Perfect. And I have Chris Brown in the house. I don't know which Chris Brown this is, but if it's the Chris Brown that I think I know, maybe I should do some dance with Chris Brown. Thank you so much for joining. I don't know where Chris Brown is joining from, but thank you for being here. Come on, let us know which Chris Brown. You never know. You just never know who can pop into the session. But this is a Chris Brown. I don't think that's a mistake. So welcome, Chris Brown. I don't know who you are, but I love to meet you and let me know where you're joining us from. The title of today is Character, Courteous Communication and Confidence being the keys to succeed as a young adult. And this is going to take me to my next question for you, Toni, is, another thing that, of course, parents struggle with is character. I don't know what part of the world everybody's jumping in from, but I find that the young people in North America, for example, can be very disrespectful. And they don't really want to do it this way, but it kind of looks like they don't know the difference with being rude and disrespectful and being kind and what to say and what not to say. And that becomes a problem. And who to say it with, which is going to get things messed up. Now, in places like Africa, I'm of African descent, culture kind of helps. Culture kind of helps because it's like, okay, you cannot say this to this person. This person is older than you. You shouldn't say this to someone who is older than you or younger than you, or you should behave this way in a certain way, or you should be able to say hello to the person next to you or something. Now, a winning character is something that cannot be compromised.
Right.
Because as the children grow older, I do not care if you as a parent has been dilly-dallying and playing games with your kids and haven't trained them on the right character. But if they are going to have to step into the world and work with other people, you're going to have to pay attention. Okay? Yes, Louisa is coming on straight this morning. So, Toni,
Yes.
how can one help their kids to develop the right character, really? Because that's so important. I mean, you can be rude at home. Nobody cares. But if you're going to have to go and work with somebody and work with other people, relate, communicate, network, connect with other people, character, like John Maxwell says, that character is the only thing that is not just going to get you through the door, but it's going to keep you in the room. So how is character so important? Over to you, Toni.
So, for many reasons, character has a lot to do with your personality. Again, going back to my comment about being approachable. Character basically is what you are led by morally. Those distinctive qualities that, are associated with your interests, that are associated with what you value. Those things have to do with your character, and you build on that, and you build on that because you're taking pieces of your environment that are beneficial, that you add to that character every day. So, my slogan for my business, my business mantra is improving me adds value to the way I see you. So a lot of times, how sometimes, I have a few least favorite things that people do in our society today. But one of them is we put a label on everything. Today, everything is rude, everything is disrespectful, everything is this. And we're quick to tell someone everything that they're not. And I have this thing that I'm always thinking for 10 things that everybody is not, are these people that, are talking about what somebody is not. Name 3 things that they are. That also helps build the person's character as well. Because if you are always hearing what you're not and how good, how bad you are and how negative your comments are, what value are you going to leave with? My mother used to say it takes a village, and I've heard a lot of other people say that too. If it does, then we have to think about how we pour into our village. We have to think about the things that we say to people that attack their character. Sometimes people are walking out of their house doing the best that they can do with the situations that they're in. Well, if we see where they can do better, well, what we want to do is support those parts that need supported. So, supporting. So, for example, I meet a lot of people who are not used to getting compliments because you can tell that because of the way they respond when you give them a compliment. Have you ever given somebody a compliment and they look surprised or like, right? So, I don't address the fact that they don't know how to receive it. I just give a compliment because that's my gift. That's a part of my character. I value the pouring in to another person, and that's my character. So does that make sense to you?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's kind of how I see character. It is not, I don't think that's a word that people are talking about a lot. Character. You don't hear that set aside from, you hear confidence, you hear courtesy, you hear polite behaviors, you hear civility a lot now. We didn't hear civility, we used to hear civility a lot before.
Exactly.
We hear civility a lot now. So, with all that being said, it's the pouring in. I am in August, I'm sorry, in November, I'm really excited that I'm going to start doing this series at the Mission Bend Branch Library. It's here in Houston. The series called You Can't Avoid Adulting. And I think that's a beautiful series because there are some things that have to do with character, that have to do with confidence that, young people need someone to pour those things into them, because today we're so focused on getting out and getting it. You got to get that money, you got to get this, you got to get all this kind of stuff. You're just getting everything, but you're not giving anything. And from that give, you're not receiving any value back. So it's not really putting a lot of emphasis on character. We say those words because, those words are kind of big in society now because we got a lot of funky stuff going on today. So I think it's our responsibility, and I'm not talking about our responsibility as etiquette coaches and civility coaches or whatever. It's people. It's pour in what you want to see. Like, you have to be what you want to see in society. Well, you have to pour that into people. If you want better character around you, then you need to be more passionate about putting that into the people who you're talking to. Building those characters up.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that contribution. Roseman, Rosille, it's great to have you in the house, and some other people who are trying to come in. Thank you so much for being here. The topic of today is character, courteous communication, and confidence, and how these are keys to success for a young adult. Now, I love to use true life examples. Not too long ago, I was working. I did a class with a bunch of teenagers in the community center here in Virginia. And as soon as I started off my lesson, someone is like, do you have an Instagram page? Of course, Brace. So unique experts in my Instagram page. You're always constantly going to be learning. Can you send me an inbox? I love to connect with you. And what part of the world are you joining us from? It looks like it's your first time to my session. So thank you. Thank you. Let me know about you and just send me an invitation. I want to connect with you. Thank you so much. Okay. So I was in class a couple of weeks ago. I think maybe 2 weeks ago. And it was a room of grades 9 to 12. So we were trying to teach, and we had these two girls sitting in front of the class. And this one girl was laughing so hard, and she was on her phone. And I stopped for a moment because, I'm very traditional when it comes to certain things. And I said, ma'am, you cannot use your phone in the class. And I had to take the phone from her, and I said, well, I'm happy to have you here, but we cannot use your phone in the class. And she continued chitty chatting, and I had to change her seat to somewhere else. And she got there and she said, no, she wasn't comfortable. So, you know what I did? I made her my assistant. I made her feel important. I made her to start getting busy and, sharing some of the activities that we're doing, asking her a lot more questions. And so even when she did not want to participate, she ended up talking more than everyone else. And at the end of the class, she said, ma'am, thank you so much. Thank you for, having patience with me. Like, I learned a lot today. But, sometimes it's difficult, for us, especially if you have your own baggage that you're carrying around and you meet up with a child who is ready to hit you back right there. I mean, it can be a mess if you do not handle it properly, because she was right in front of the class. And I had over 40 students, right, sitting in the class who were ready to learn. But I had to turn the nasty behavior for positive. I had to start working with her. I had to start asking her more questions. I had to get her involved and things like that. And you will not believe, one of the questions that I asked is, how many of you think that, we were talking about communicating, talking about using swear words. And she said, oh, I never thought that there was anything wrong with using swear words, because my family, my parents swear all the time and we all swear. So you can see where this child is coming from. So bringing a message of civility, first of all, she's very upset. She's just like, excuse me. This is the first time I'm hearing this kind of message. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear about kindness. I don't want to hear about being polite, but I had to find a way of working with her, getting her involved, talking to her. And at the end of, the 3 hours that we were together, she was happy. She's like, ma'am, when are you going to come back again? Now, this is going to take me to my next question. And when you talked about how you give what you want, and this is for the parents, we're directing this to the parents. Do you think that the parents are not doing what they should do in terms of their own personal development? Because for you to be able to create change in the life of the child, you must be aware of your own self. You must spend some time to do some work on yourself, whether it's on the way that you communicate, whether it's on your own character, whether it's on what you bring to the table. Because a family is like a pot of soup. We all contribute. So what do you bring to the table? So, Toni, I want you to talk to the parents, because there are a lot of parents online this morning. How can they work on their own character, on their own way of communicating? Sometimes some parents take some calls in front of their kids and utter things that they shouldn't. And the children pick on those things and take them on to the world. So we cannot 100% blame the kids here without talking to the parents, without going back to the family. So, I'm going to pass this back to you, Toni. How can you encourage your parents? Well, how can you, if you had a class for parents, for example, how can parents add on positive a value or impact on the life of the children? What should the parents do? Over to you, Toni.
So there are a few things, just a few things. Respect the child. If the child has a concern, let the child expand on that concern, talk about it with them. Listen. When the child comes to the parent, don't automatically assume or draw a conclusion. Engage the child in conversation, not just a regular conversation about how was your day today? What did you do? Did you make a new friend today? Kind of go into the day. Share value about your day as a parent, so the child knows what that looks like and sounds like and how to communicate that. That is like pretty much training the trainer in the home environment.
Right.
So you are embedding those things in your kid that that child is at some point going to use. either with their peers or when they're talking to another adult, because that's what's going on in the household. The other thing is, um, when when a child does something that's irritating, at the end of the day, it is a child. Keep a cool head, then respond. But respond in a way where the child gets the lesson from it, and it's not just a bunch of hooping and hollering. So you change your environment because you change the tone of the environment, you change the feel of the environment, meaning if the child has a problem, he doesn't have a problem coming to the parent because he knows the parent is going to be objective. He knows that the parent is going to listen. He
Mm.
knows the parent is going to offer respectful feedback. And that is going to build confidence. That is also going to inspire his character.
Mm.
And that is going to help him be more courteous when he's in conversations with other people, whether it's peers or other adults. So that is a train the trainer situation. This is the thing. Although I am an expert, is what the people say, I don't believe that everybody is doing something wrong because they have kids that misbehave or they don't because the kids are not responding in the way that the etiquette people think that they should respond. You know,
Right.
the beautiful thing about this world is that we are individuals. It's not, just like God's blessings don't look like we think they should look. Well, individuality doesn't look like what we think it should look. What we have to do is learn to do a workaround. And that means patience. Parents have to be patient. Educators have to be patient. Experts have to be patient. That's the key. That's how you change your environment. You be what it is you want to see. You import that in your kids. If those are the people that you want them to be in this world, then you show them how to be that person by doing that and being that to them.
Mm.
Not, my mother used to say, you can tell what type of person someone is going to be to you by the way they treat other people.
That's true.
And that is very true. And that is not something that we say a lot to each other. There are really easy antidotes that I share with parents because I work at a middle school during the year, and schoolers, they have their own way of thinking and doing and maneuvering through this life. I mean, and it's really interesting to watch. And they're not always wrong. It may need to be redirected a bit, but it's not always wrong. Now,
Mm.
it is always creative and it is always interesting, but it's not always wrong. And that's what a parent needs to do, just a little fine tuning. But that fine tuning starts with you and how you respond to that. And that will fix whatever that is inside the adult. You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes you've heard the phrase out of the mouths of babes. Have you heard that, Louisa?
The phrase?
Out of the mouths of babes.
Right, right.
So when a child says something that catches you off guard, but it's kind of like right on the money, that should help you get your life. You know what I'm saying? As a parent.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I got some things that I need to straighten up. And that's all it is, not taking yourself so seriously. That is the main thing. If you're a parent with these kids today, you cannot take yourself so seriously.
Wow.
Hopefully that's a little helpful insight.
That was great. I love that you talked about communication, and we have some things from the audience. Let me just go back here. From iHer said communication is essential for our success. So first of all, communication with ourselves. And welcome, David. It's good to have you here, my brother from Virginia. Welcome, James Roderick. It's great to have you. Calm confidence is high level of awareness. Thank you so much, iHer. It's always good to have you in the house. And thank you. Guys, we are almost at the end of the session, but this, I know that the month of August, I mean, all over the world, I believe, Most children are home. So this is why we're bringing this kind of content that's going to benefit families, going to benefit parents, going to benefit educators, children. How do we move on and get started with a new school year with a new you? New you. You don't want to show up in the new semester doing the same old thing and expect great results. So some of the things that you really have to do as parents, guys, is to make out time to communicate with the kids. I know that we get very busy. I know that we're all working, but try to make out time at the table. At the table, great things happen. Believe it or not, make out time to dine with your kids. You might not want to eat at that time. And welcome, Susan Jacobs. It's great to have you here. Another image consultant from Canada. It's good to have you in the house. Thank you so much for joining. Make out time to spend time with your children. Try to talk to them. Find out what they're doing. If you do not become their friend, a lot of times they're not going to open up to you. And there's so much pain. So many things are happening. The other time we had an expert come into our session talking about abuse and sexual victimization. I know people are not ready to talk about things like that, but of course, research has shown us that is increasing by the day. I mean, such a scary number of 91% increase. So it's time for us to speak about it. Because, before we used to read about sexual abuse in the books, but now they're your neighbors. They live with you. It can happen anytime, anywhere. And the only way that we can curb this problem or be able to control this problem is through communication. Talk openly with the kids. Tony talked about the levels. Take away the levels from there. I know sometimes as parents, we can get very strict and it's like, this child is so bad. I don't expect anything good from you. You're good for nothing and blah, 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 blah. Of course, that child is going to show up as being good for nothing. So you, the parents, have got to change the way that you speak to your child. What are you saying to your kids? It's going to help their confidence. Because if you break their confidence at home, they're never going to have confidence outside. What are you saying to them? You're gonna have to help to build this at home. You're spending some time with them in the month of August. What are you saying to them? Are you a person of faith? Have you prayed for your kids yet? Yes. Have you prayed for them? Have you spent time to pray for them? You might be praying every single day that you want money, you want this, you want your business. How many of you have prayed for your kids? Okay. Pray for your kids. Speak the right things to their lives.
Right.
Pass on the right energy. And we have a contribution from Kate said parents should be intentional in the way they live as good hosts of this great guest God has given them. Let's give them our best. We will not have them with us forever. Thank you so much, Kate. Thank you. It's always good to have you in the house. So do the best that you can. Don't leave it for the teachers. The teachers are not going to do it. And you are your kids' first role model before the teacher. Your children, if you notice that some of the things that your parents used to do, you just find that you begin to repeat those things, even without thinking about it. Those things just show up in your life because you've seen them as your role model. They're the first people that you trusted. They're the first people that you learned from. So my question for you this morning is, would you love to have a child that looks like you? The second question is, if your kids look like you and behave like you, do you think they're going to be successful? That's a hard question. Because if you do have gaps in your own life, it's time for you to work on it. Do not look at the steps for only your children. You can listen to this video again for yourself. We're here to learn. I'm learning something today. And this is going to bring me to my last question for you, Toni. Another thing that we're going to talk about is, when we talk about communication is a big part, especially with children. Now, I find something in the life of kids that they struggle with. They always want to be heard. Kids always want to be heard.
Yeah.
They want to speak first. It's like I want to say it first. I have my example. I want to share. I mean, sometimes I'm so tired from work and you get home and the kids is like, oh, mom, I have a joke. And this one says, oh, mom, I want to show you something on my phone. And this one says, oh, mom, you know what happened today? And I'm thinking, okay, mom has got 2 ears and everyone is trying to speak at the same time. But that's just who the children are. And
Right,
I love that you talked about patience
right,
because we have to have patience. If we do not have patience, you might have had a long day. But the moment that you walk into the house, listen, guys, drop your stress by the door. Listen to the kids because if you do not have patience with them, if you do not have an open door policy, you would chase them away from you. You would lose them. And the minute you lose them, you've lost everything about them.
right.
So now let's just go to the final part of this. Talking about the programs that you have, of course, with the camps that you have. I know you teach them a lot of, different kinds of etiquette, maybe like dining etiquette or dining with civility, because we're in a civility session. And how to communicate and character and all of that. Now, when working with the kids in school,
Mhm.
what would you leave back for the children in the school? Because I know that, if they're used to behaving a certain way and they show up next semester saying, oh, I don't think this is right, I want to change, they might even get people begin to mock them. They might even get bullies, try to bully them that, what do you mean? You have to do this.
Mhm.
So now let's speak back to the children. Oh, sorry, there's a contribution here from Iho. Iho says, deep down in our hearts, we understand that our success and the success of our kids is defined by how much we learn to love them and how much they learned to love too. Thank you so much, Ihar, and welcome, Sibyl. It's so good to have you here. Welcome, Apu Ahmed. It's good to have you. And now there are a lot of other people who are just coming in. If I haven't mentioned your name, we are running to the end of the session, and I have to be civil too, so that Tony can come back another time. So I'm trying to stay on time. But let's just take this last question now.
Okay.
Tony, this last question for us is connected to bullying.
Okay.
Bullying is a big thing. And I find that a lot of children have lost confidence because of bullying in the home, bullying in the school, bullying around them. How can children deal with this? Because that's something that parents are struggling with. Because when you have a child who has been a victim of abuse, a victim of bully or something, I mean, their self-esteem goes down the drain. And of course, the parents sometimes are confused as to how do we work with this child to get themselves back up? So my question for you would be, how can parents work with their children to prevent them from being maybe bullied or abused, or the ones that their children have already been victims? How can they work with these kids? Over to you, Tony.
So this summer, I had 2 months of camp at U of H Clear Lake in the uh, their education building. And the name of my camp was Character Building. And I had a little boy in my class, and he talked about being bullied, and he said he was always bullied.
Mm,
And I asked him, what did he do? And he said, well, what do you do? It's nothing I can do. I'm little, and I'm going to always be bullied. I said,
mm,
well, this is the thing. You can't change the bully. That's not your responsibility. But you can change you and your approach and
mm,
how the bully approaches you.
mm,
And he was like, really? But I'm little. I said, so that can't be your go-to phrase all the time.
mm,
You have the right to be in that same space as your bully.
mm,
And the the one thing that you can do differently is own your spot. You're not owning your spot. So you're going to have to share it because you're not owning it as your own.
mm,
So the bully feels that he can take it because you're not owning it
mm,
anyway. You're saying that you're little, you're making excuses for why you can't stand and deliver.
mm,
So he's meeting you where you are. And he said, I never thought about it like that. And I said, well, I was bullied too. I said, the thing is, when people don't understand things that are different, they speak to it in a kind of, uh, I usually say, Louise, I used to say in a funky way because I've always been different all my life. I always have. I've always seen things differently. I've always talked about situations differently. And, you realize that you have to own that.
Mm.
That's definitely who you are. And that is what parents can do. Teach their children how to own their spot because you're never going to control a bully. You don't know what's going on in that household. You don't know. The thing is, bullies bully because they're weak. You're not a counselor, kid. You can't do anything with that. All you can do is be you. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
not being you because you're afraid because of the
Mm.
bully, well, he's going to own you for the rest of your life. And then
Mm.
if it's not him, it's going to be somebody else because this is the thing. I believe that D.L. Hughley said something on his show, and I agree with him. We're going to always have bullies. We're going to always have them. It's how we stand. It's how we stand that
That's true.
determines if we're bullied or not. And that makes
Wow.
a difference. And that is what parents have to teach their kids how to stand. When I'm at that middle school, that's what I'm saying. I work with kids who are in the special ed department, but they're in the general population. I mean, in the general classroom, general ed classroom. And I always
Mm.
say, this doesn't have to be a black mark against your name.
Mm.
You can stand as proud as the straight A student. You just have to know that within yourself. You have to
Mm.
work a little harder. They have to work harder at other things. There's nobody that's got it together, and it's all perfect. None of us have it perfectly together. None of us. Some of us have to work a little more. And this is an area where you're having to work a little more. And those are the things that the parents have to do. You have to massage those nuggets of value into your kids so they can stand against the bully. A teacher can be a bully. Some teachers don't even know that they're bullies. But if a
That is
child stands in a place that they are owning their spot, and you don't have to take it just because you're a kid. You don't. There's a way that you have to speak to it now, because you're not an adult and you don't get to talk to an adult like you're on their level, but you
true.
don't have to take it.
Mm.
And we have to stop teaching our kids to cower down, and we have to teach them how to speak to those situations that make them uncomfortable. If somebody's standing too close, you have the right to say, excuse me, you're in my space, I'm a little uncomfortable. That's your right to say that.
Mm.
So I don't want to go on too long because you said we're running out of time. That's
But that I love that you said it. And welcome, Carlene. It's so good to have you here. It says, yes, don't try to fit in. Stand out by being you. So
yeah.
you need to know who you are, what you can take. You just need to know who you are.
And you
Uh,
don't need a bandwagon. Louisa, a lot of kids feel like they need a whole posse of kids to
mm,
tell them that they are popular and they're beautiful and they're good. You don't need that. You have a mirror. You're not waiting for somebody to tell you you cute. You went school shopping and your stuff is together and you know how to put it together. You have to know it first. Because if you're relying on this world to do that for you, my
mm, mm,
God.
mm, mm. I love that. I love that. And Carlin, it's so good to have you here this morning. Another contribution from Carlin says, that's why it begins with self love. Thank you. When our kids know their values and stand firm in their beliefs, it clothes them in confidence.
Right.
Yes, yes,
That's
Yes, you can say that again and again and again. Confidence, self-love, self-love. Parents also have to practice self-love. They
yeah,
have to.
yeah,
Practice self-love is so important. And you have to teach the kids
yeah.
about that, because a lot of kids do not like themselves. A lot of kids feel that they're not good enough. You
Mm,
will always have to nail it and let your children know that they are enough.
right.
They don't need to be like anybody else. They are enough.
That's right.
They are the best that they should be. They are not in competition with nobody.
Right. That's right. I totally
And
agree.
so, yes, and so that's so important, because when you do not believe in yourself, when you do not love yourself, it shows. Oh, guys, come on. Body
Okay.
language, come on now. It shows when you do not believe in yourself, when you do not trust yourself, it shows.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. How do you feel when you're putting on a new and beautiful outfit? Some of those days you're just like, oh my goodness, I'm going to this event. I'm just going to stop this event. I can't wait to show them the way I look. You walk in there with confidence.
That's right.
Nobody had to tell you that,
Right.
because you knew you had it all together. You walked in with your confidence.
But could I interrupt you?
Yes,
Um,
yes, go for it.
so this
Go
is the
for it.
thing about kids at school. So let's say you don't get to go school shopping.
Mm,
Okay. Let's say that that's not on your agenda for the summer. And you have to wear the same clothes, or some of them or most of them from last year. By God, you better stomp in those clothes like you stomped in them when they were new last year. And
that's
that
right.
we don't teach our kids to do that. You don't have to have something new. You don't
Mm-hmm,
have the trappings of life to be
mm-hmm,
relevant today.
mm-hmm,
You don't have
mm-hmm,
to do that. And
mm-hmm,
that's what they believe. If somebody, and don't get me wrong, I love to shop. I'm not even going to sit here and act like I don't go to the store or order online, because I do. But my point is, I step high in stuff that's old or that's new.
right. That's right. It doesn't matter.
And parents, you can't service your child in lack. Meaning,
That's right.
if you're a single parent and let's say, child support isn't coming in or whatever, where we don't have it. No, you don't talk about what you don't have. You show him or her how to
Mm-hmm,
do their thing with what you got. You
mm-hmm,
know, and we have gone away from that. It's all about, well, we don't have this, or well, if we were here, you don't have to be here or there or have this or that.
mm,
To know that beauty that lives inside of you, that power, that is what you lead with. And
mm.
I tell you, Louisa, you shouldn't have had me on the show talking about this, because this is my jam. And I am all
Do
about
it. Do it. Go for it. Go for it.
about people being empowered, and not making people feel bad because of what they have or what they don't
Mm,
have, or what they're,
mm,
just because they're not doing it like you doesn't mean that they're not doing it right. We
mm,
don't have a checklist that we have to follow that's
mm,
that's guided by you.
mm,
And that's why I say we have to be patient and understand individuality is individuality. That means
mm,
different. They don't look like you. They don't act like you. And if it needs some refinement, do that. Refinement doesn't mean changing the whole person.
mm,
Refinement
mm,
doesn't mean that the person is completely wrong. Or the
mm,
person, you can't pick something right from somebody. We're not all bad. We're not all laced in bad behavior. You got to find something decent about
mm.
somebody and spotlight that.
That's right.
you
That's
know and then we do that to these kids, and that's why they go to school acting like a fool, because they want attention, because they want somebody. And you tend to think that kids don't want structure. They do want structure. They
right.
want somebody to come to them who is consistent, and they're talking life to them,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
then that you can get something from them.
mm-hmm.
So I don't have children, but I always say, in this business, I have thousands of children.
You do. You do.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And when you live a life that is about what you give and
Mm,
not about always what you're getting, you are going to pour into more people than that.
that
And
is
give
true.
doesn't mean monetary. It's
Mm,
not always about the money that you give, but tangible things.
mm,
You give people life by extending grace, by
mm,
uh, extending polite behaviors, and always meeting somebody in a decent place, making eye contact, shaking their hand, addressing them by name. Kids love that when you remember their name.
mm,
You
mm.
know, it is horrible for somebody. I've heard people say, "Hey, you kid, come over here." You don't do children like that. If you
Yeah,
don't know the
yeah.
person's name, say, "I'm sorry. What's your name?" You know,
Mm,
at least you want to know it. But if they
that is
don't,
true.
that's how you give value. That's how they can stand up to bullies because they already have that value inside of them. So,
Wow. I
okay.
love that. I
Hey,
love that.
that's
I'm just going to share this quote with you. One of my favorite quotes by Eric Hoffer states that no matter what our achievements might be, we think well of ourselves only in rare moments.
mm,
We need people to bear witness against our inner judge, who keeps books on our shortcomings and transgressions.
mm,
We need people to convince us that we are not as bad as we think we are.
right.
That's where the problem is. We
Hmm.
are always seeking for validation. And
Yeah.
so we pass this on to the children. This
Yes.
is why they get bullied.
Yes. That's right.
You are constantly seeking for validation. You're constantly feeling that you're not enough.
Right.
You're constantly making the child feel that another child in their class is better off than them,
Right.
instead of working with them to become a better version. So
Right.
parents have a lot of work to do.
Right.
Your kids are the best, and please speak life to the life of your kids.
That's right.
Nobody's gonna do it. You have to speak life
Right.
every single day. Speak life into them, encourage them, work with them. Do
Right.
not throw the bad habits. Do not throw all their faults at them, because we're so good at just putting it on them. It's like, you are a bad child. You did this yesterday. You did this 2 weeks ago. And then, of course, last month, this is the same thing you did. And this tears the kids down, and it affects the way that they show up in the world.
Right.
So, guys, yes, that quote was from Eric Hoffer. I can send it to you later on. I'll send you a message. It's from Eric Hoffer. I would be happy to pass it on to you. And welcome, Stacy. It's good to have you here, David. It's good to have you here. And guys, we have come to the end of the session, but I really enjoyed my time with you, Tony. It's
Oh,
always
I did too. It was such a great conversation, Louisa. And
absolutely.
and this morning it started off kind of rocky, didn't it? Because we didn't think I
There
was
you go.
able to log in, but
There
it
you
ended
go.
on a great note.
It
Thank
was, yes, it went well. It went great. You are the best person to have shared this message. Thank you so much for all that you do and continue to do
thank
to make the world a better place. And welcome, Helen. It's good to have you here from Canada. Thank you for being part of our session today. It was such a great conversation. And guys, if you're just joining now, I don't want to say that you're late to the party, but you are. You can have access to the video on my page. Please follow me on my business page. It's So Unique Experts, because beginning from next month, I'm going to keep the sessions in my page. It's not going to be on my personal page. It's going to be on my business page. So please follow me on my business page. And if you're not already following me on Instagram, please do so that you don't miss out on the things that we're doing, because a lot of fun stuff is coming up. And please, please, please also subscribe to my channel on YouTube. That's where I have all this great videos stored for you. If you're just joining us, you can have access to all the videos from last year. It's Louisa Akaiso. Please subscribe and invite more people to be part of what we're doing. And I do hope that you have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Just like I'm going to say thank you so much to Tony again. Thank you.
you. Thank you
And
so
thank
much.
you. Thank you to all of you. Thank
You
you.
have a great
I
day.
love you guys. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. And I will see you on Friday. But just before that, do not forget to grab your copy of the Civilized Leader because the book study is coming up very soon. Okay, and you can follow Toni on Facebook, like I said. You can follow her company, Etiquette and Style by Dupree on Facebook, on Instagram, and follow her if you're in the Houston area. You can be part of her in-class sessions. She's happy to work with you. If you're interested to learn more, you would love to work with kids, you can connect with us. Send me an email, Louisa at the civilityacademy.com. Louisa at the civilityacademy.com. These are some of the questions that you asked. You said you wanted sessions for children.
And I'll show the book, Louisa. Give me a second. I'll show the book.
Okay. Please do, please do, please do. So you asked questions. You asked me to bring in sessions for children, and you can see that we answer when you ask. So I need more questions. I need more feedbacks. And welcome, Margaret. Thank you. It's good to have you in the house. So send me a message and let me know what kind of topics would you want to hear about, would you want to learn about. And that's the copy of the book right there, straight up from your teacup. You can grab a copy on Amazon,
Right.
Barnes and Noble. You can grab a copy there. You can walk into Barnes and Noble and just grab a copy. If you don't want to go online, you can do that. You can get a copy on Kindle. It's such a great read, straight up from the teacup. Okay, and that's from Toni. She was able to pour her heart into that book. And so, guys, you don't want to miss out. Please do that. So I'm gonna see you again on Friday, same time. I'm excited. Send me an email. What would you like to learn in our sessions? This sessions is for you, so I want to make you happy. If you think you're doing some great work that you want me to know about and you think you should be on our show, send me an email, Louisa at the civilityacademy.com. And I have to apologize. Some people have been in touch with me in the past, but your message must be in alignment with what we're doing because I cannot disrespect the audience. So if I've ever said no before, please forgive me, but I can only bring the message that aligns with what we're doing. So I love you so much and have yourself a wonderful rest of the day. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.